my world, is all about your guys' 4 hours out here every day. I've lived this game so much, the job so much, and it's humbles you so often that I have a goal every day of what we need to do.
Yeah.
And the rest of it, I don't really care about.
We thank you for that. We thank you for your focus on our enjoyment.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
indeed. Welcome to another episode of Weekday Golf. I'm Preston,
I'm Oliver.
and we're very excited to be joined today by our good friend, Troy Flanagan, who is the Director of Golf Maintenance here at the Olympic Club. Is that your correct title?
That is it?
I've had to work hard to get that down.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, it's not easy. I'm not that smart, as you know. We're excited to talk to you today about everything that you do here. Why don't you give us a sense of how you got into this profession, into this role, into a love of agronomy? Is that the right word to use?
No, absolutely. So I'm from Minneapolis area, a city called Richfield, and I was going to the University of St. Thomas. So I was a freshman in college. Through high school, I played soccer, baseball, I played football through ninth grade, but I played golf with my dad on the weekends at the local municipal golf course. Baseball and soccer were my love, so I absolutely love those two. Yeah, we played golf on the weekends and, played decently, but it was not my thing because when you're in Minnesota, everything is based around the seasons.
Sure.
Right.
So obviously in the winter, you aren't doing any of those other sports other than hockey. Baseball and golf were the same season, so there was no way I was ever going to play golf over baseball.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, but again, on the weekends, played with dad, loved it, had fun. And then freshman year, my dad gave me an article. So I'm at University of St. Thomas in business, didn't really know what I was going to do with it. So I got this article from Golf Digest about our profession. I read it, and it was just like that. It was like, that's it.
Really?
That is it. And I knew across the street was a golf course. Now remember, I played on municipal golf course my whole life. I didn't even know what a private club was. And so went across the street, a place called Town and Country Club. Bill Larson, the superintendent. I call, get him, talk to Bill, and he goes, well, the only way you're going to know is if you come out here and work on the golf course. Okay. Started working on the golf course, did that for 3 years. I knew within that first year that that's what I was going to do.
What types of things did they have you doing?
Oh, just the usual raking leaves at the start of the year, getting the golf course ready, because I started in like March or April. So in Minnesota, snow is starting to melt finally. So doing those kind of things. And then when this turf started growing, mowing greens, raking bunkers, anything and everything you do on a golf course maintenance, starting off at the bottom, which was pretty cool because Bill, and I didn't know this, but it was his first year there. And when you're 19, somebody older, you look at him and like, oh, you probably think he's 20 years older.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, Bill is like 28 or 29.
Right.
Right. But working for Bill, and he is building his crew. And so now that I'm one of the first ones in, and I learned from my parents. My parents were dairy farmers, hardest working people in the world as far as I'm concerned. There's no days off on a dairy farm.
Yeah.
And so worked hard. Bill loved me, knew that I wanted to do this. And for those 3 years, I stayed at St. Thomas, got my marketing management degree, knew I'd need that. And in case I changed my mind, at least I had my degree. Graduated, and he had two really good friends, guys he went to school with. One was Jeff Marco, who was superintendent down in Palm Springs at the Vintage Club. And then their other really good friend that was in charge of all the golf courses at Pebble Beach.
Oh.
Ooh.
And so I was getting done, and he kept pushing. He's like, all the best superintendents in the country, they go other places, they move. So that's what I had in my head.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to go somewhere right when I graduate. So I'm like, well, tell me about Palm Springs and Vintage Club. And he goes, well, it's going to be really hot.
Yeah.
And you might be the only one that doesn't know how to speak Spanish.
Have you been to the Vintage Club, by the way?
No.
It is like
Amazing.
as manicured as anything I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Wait, so Troy, can I, before you go too much further, When you said that you immediately knew that's what you wanted to do, what was it that you loved? How did you know that?
Yeah, what was in this article?
I think part of it was because I knew business makes the world go round.
Sure.
My dad was a controller, brother was in sales, brother's 7.5 years older than me. So I looked up to them, but at the same point, I wasn't like passionate about it. But when I read this with loving to play all those outdoor sports, when you're in Minnesota, outdoor time is so valuable. People don't understand. When you live in California, you take it for granted. But when you live up there, when that snow melts and it's nice out, everybody's outside. When you look at per capita golfers in the country, most per capita, it's almost always North and South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, kind of that whole band. And it's because it's like when the weather's great, you're going to be outside,
right,
and you're going to be
Pent
doing
up demand.
something.
Yeah. That's interesting.
So when I read that, it was kind of like one of those. I mean, I love playing on fields. When you're at that age, you never play on a great field, but at the same point, you're kind of like, this sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And once I started working on this golf course, and of course now, maybe I didn't say it, but it was Town and Country Club's a nice private club in that area. Now all of a sudden you're like, wow, this is a whole different golf course than the one I go play on with my dad.
So back to Pebble Beach.
And then I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if I really like the sound of working in 120-degree weather.
Yeah.
Of course I've heard about Pebble Beach, and I love watching golf, but I don't know if I really knew about Pebble Beach. And so he explained that. I was like, well, that sounds a lot better. And this was 1991 when I graduated. So they had the 92 Open coming up. So fast forward, I get the job as a greenskeeper on the crew at Pebble Beach. And Dad and I drive across the country out there, and we get to Pebble Beach, and it is the foggiest, thickest day you've ever seen. And so superintendent takes my dad and I for a drive. My dad is the proudest dad in the world. He is just like, he's on cloud nine.
Sure.
And so we drive out there and we drive around and we go up by 6, 7, 8. You can hear the ocean.
Yeah.
Can't see a thing.
Yeah.
And so we stop, and the pros were playing out there on number 8, hitting their second shot. Best second shot in golf. Right. And they're kind of like, I think that was good shot. My dad and I are looking at it like,
Yeah.
we have no
How do you know
idea.
that?
Yeah, we have no idea. So then very soon after that, whatever day I started, next day or next couple of days, go out there and come around the corner to number 6. And I was like, holy this is wow. And get up and look at 7 and 8 and 9. Just like, wow. This Minnesota kid out here.
Yeah.
It was just one of those
Wide-eyed.
wow moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And you've been hooked ever since.
Yeah, I mean, to the profession, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, what I learned that year, and they treated me like an intern, but I really wasn't a true intern. I hadn't gone to turf school yet. But yeah, they took to me really well. So I learned a great deal there, stayed there a year, and then I went back to Minnesota and then went to Penn State for turf.
Let's talk a little bit about what you think about what makes a great golf experience. So when schmoes like Preston and I play, we have a great time. Afterwards, we're talking about, the greens were rolling so well, the rough was gnarly. Obviously, a lot more goes into that.
Okay, so this is not me going on and play. This is what I think you guys want, because very different.
Well, we want to hear what you think.
I could go play a municipal golf course, and I'd be just as happy as playing here. Mm-hmm. It's all about the other 3 people I'm playing with. The 3 people I typically will play with, none of us have a scorecard. Could care less. Mm-hmm. Now, maybe 20, 30 years ago is a little different, but it's all about the fun, because the people I'm going to play with, most of them are in my profession. And we're here 10 plus or minus hours a day, weekends, all of that. It's not about the score.
Is it an oasis, like a break? Like you're not talking
absolutely.
shop? You're
Yeah.
just enjoying each other's company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are just waiting for the other guy to hit a bad shot, so we can just rib him. You know,
Yeah.
it's what it's about.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. We have a benevolent tournament in our industry, and when I was playing golf, and I'm taking a break, that might be the rest of my life, but I would look forward to that. And it was at a golf course that is not nearly what our standard is. I could care less. You know, I looked so forward because I was going to be sitting in the cart with Todd, my good buddy, superintendent in the East Bay, and we were going to start off with some rum and diets right away at 9 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, it just, like you said, get away.
Yeah.
That's our deal.
Golf is your break from golf.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, on the flip side, last year, so the reason I say I might not be playing golf again is I had my second back surgery in the last 3.5 years.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's to the point with how much pain I was in middle to late last year. I've just kind of looked at life and said, you know what, pretty fortunate. I get to putt on the greens every day. I can do that pain-free. But playing golf, you know, is it worth it? Something's bad with my back and it's not going to get better.
Yeah.
So last year in, I believe it was May, went to, in my opinion, the best golf course in the world, 2 hours south of here, Cypress Point, which I worked there as an assistant back in 97, 98. And I knew in the back of my head, for two reasons, it might be my last time ever playing there. One was the superintendent that had been there 30 plus years, who was my boss way back in the day, who also was the superintendent of Vintage Club in my earlier thing. Jeff Marco, it was his last year. And you never know what relationship you're going to have with the next
Sure.
person. So that was a possibility. Plus, I knew I was going to have the surgery, and I knew in the back of my head there was a chance maybe this would be it. So I had two really good friends, Todd Linen and guy, Scott Bauer, that's at Marta's Camp. And then I had one of our members who is a really good friend, and you guys both know him really well, John Kramer. My other really good turf friend, John is lucky, wasn't able to make it, and that's Thomas Pastis. And Thomas used to be the Cal Club superintendent. Now he works as agronomy for the PGA Tour.
That feels like a pretty cool club to be a part of.
Yeah.
You and your peers.
It worked pretty well.
I mean, for the handful of people that have had the privilege of playing Cypress, a lot of them say it's the best golf experience. What makes it so for you?
Oh, it's the feeling that you're not supposed to be there.
Oh,
It's that feeling when you walk through the gate, you're just like the luckiest person in the world, because you know no matter what that weather is like that day, you're going to have the best walk in golf. It's just bar none.
yeah.
Golf course, phenomenal. I love Pebble Beach too, but it's 180 degrees. You know, it's the 3-ring circus, it's the 6-hour round, it's the carts on the path the whole day, you know, people walking back and forth. But think if that was ultra exclusive. Think if that was Cypress Point.
Right.
And you couldn't really see it from the road. You didn't really know. I mean, you see parts of Cypress from the road, but you don't really know which golf course it is until you know.
Right.
Think if that was Pebble. 9 holes on the ocean, and hardly anybody played it every day, and it was the Cypress Point membership there. Think of that. That blows me away.
Have
But
you read?
anyways,
Have you read The Match?
Yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We were just talking about that. I told him, bring that on your next vacation.
I'm told that I must read it
Oh, it's
as soon as
phenomenal.
possible.
It's phenomenal.
Everybody I know that has read it has said that.
So going there and kind of thinking in the back of my head, this might be it, and playing with those guys who just love him to death. They didn't know John, but you know, as far as the other two, we're tight, and John, just like you guys, are very easy to move into a new group, if you will.
Yeah.
And so it was awesome. It was awesome. I played really well. Kind of have my little
nice
half
cherry on
swing,
top.
half swing back and half swing through, and it's amazing how that ball was popping off the club and got through it. And just to me, that was the ultimate round. But
I'm reading into this that you think it was your last round.
that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
You know, again, no, who knows? My back might get so bad. Again, I say, well, might as well just go out and play golf.
Might as well
again.
give it a chance.
Yeah. Go play again. One of the biggest regrets timing-wise is I didn't play the lay course other than in a scramble since the renovation.
I was there, I remember.
Yeah, that was the only time I played the lay course. So, yeah, that happens to a lot of us.
Yeah.
We work out here, we grind. You tend not to play your own course that often.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which stinks. But
do you feel like you miss any perspective because of that?
I mean, absolutely. You don't necessarily see what the golfer sees. When I was swinging the club more, I would hit shots. I would walk around with my club and I would hit a lot of shots from the fairway. Things like that, all the way up even through the amateur last year. But
and you were in incredible pain during the amateur, I remember.
Yeah, it was tough.
Well, you're on the course all the time, and I can tell you're playing. Okay, let's see how this person plays this shot. Let's see what happens here.
Oh, I love watching. Yeah. I love stopping behind a green and just hoping the golfer hits the green. You know what I mean? That's I do that all day long.
But be honest, do you also like them to hit it in the spot where the next shot's going to be super tricky and you want to see if the course defends itself?
So, yes. You know what I love? Because our main drive goes up next to 17 green. I love watching people when they're on the left side putting to the right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will almost always stop and just watch the putt. And I really love it when you all miss that putt.
And that happens most of the time.
Well, of course. And what I love...
You love when the comebacker is even longer than the first putt?
Absolutely. We are devious in our industry. And you know why? It's because of you guys.
We joke about that, but you really are.
We are.
You're self-proclaimed deviants.
But it's all your fault. Everybody watching. Does anybody want slow greens?
No.
Does anybody want greens that are 10?
No.
No, you want a 12.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's ridiculous. Right. I think, you guys are good, but for the vast majority of everybody playing, it's way too fast.
Yeah.
But that's what almost everybody wants. It's like, all right, well, you asked for it. Here you go.
Yeah.
It's funny because we had the greens super fast in May as a little PGA. I think it was a PGA Championship sort of test preview or whatever, right? And then, of course, you can't keep them like that forever, and I'm sure you can explain to us why better than I understand currently. But I actually find the greens a little easier to putt when you're just a little slower.
Well, absolutely. You can be more aggressive.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah. You can actually hit through the putt instead of being defensive, and we all know when you're defensive, your putt gets choppy.
Right.
It tends to.
Right.
And I will tell you, some of the easiest greens, I'm going to say this wrong, but right after we aerify greens and we sand them before they've started to grow crazy, because aerifying is to help the plant rejuvenate and root and get going and go again. But if you sand the greens and all the holes are filled and there's a lot of sand out, they're actually pretty dang smooth. And in that time, you can actually, to me, it was one of the best rounds I've ever had in my life was on greens like that, because I would have a 5-footer and I could put pace because they're still not fast,
Right.
but it's about smoothness. I had, and I don't even know who it was, but I was on the 17th green once, and golfer has a long putt and it comes up, way short. And he does the old sly look back and said something about how slow they were. And I'm sitting there going, you've played 16 other holes and you haven't figured it out yet.
Be better.
It's really
That's
not
on you.
It's not on me anymore.
That's on you.
Exactly.
Yeah, the first hole, I'll give that one to you.
Yeah.
But at this point, that's all you.
You got to adjust, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So you want to be fiendish to us. Okay.
No, you want to be fiendish to yourself.
We want to be
Go
fiendish to
ahead.
ourselves. Okay.
We enjoy it.
You enjoy
it.
the fiendishness.
Yes, it's fun.
Better put. So what is it that you're looking to provide that you think we want?
So on the greens, I want to give you a smooth surface. I want you to hit a putt where you want to hit it and it's smooth. That's my biggest thing. Speed takes care of itself. Think about it. If it's bumpy, you're losing speed. So all about smoothness and trueness. Now the speeds, they come different ways. If we are mowing shorter, we're rolling more often, those things. Now that also helps with smoothness and trueness. Can you stand over a 5-footer, hit it where you want, and it goes where you expect it?
And so for the layperson, what's like the top thing you do to try to get it smooth?
It's mowing on a daily basis,
Okay.
and it's rolling on a daily
Okay.
basis. Those are the two biggest things.
Yeah.
The most important thing we do on a golf course is mowing. If you took away irrigation, fertilizer, chemicals, all those different things that we do, and you could only do one, it's mowing. Because if we didn't mow, it'd be a pasture, you know. But that's super important to us, mowing and rolling. So I've been here 12 years now. There was a 2-year period between the U.S. Open in 12 and 14 when I got here that I would say cultural practices, maintaining the golf course, kind of took a back seat.
Okay.
I think it might have been partly because the members finally got their golf course back. My predecessor, Pat Finland, he moved on to be interim general manager, and didn't really have anybody in my position for a while. So things got soft out here. And so when I got here, it took a while to get back to a philosophy of cultural practices, top dressing, airification. All these things need to come first so that we can give you those great conditions. They can't take a back seat. And that was kind of happening. So it took a while for us to get to the point where we were firmer and faster. And there's a saying in our industry, nothing happens fast in turf other than death. Meaning we can lose grass like that. But to get something up to what we call championship conditions on a somewhat daily basis, it takes a long time. It takes years. So put it this way. Has anybody ever said, we want the golf course slow and lush?
Never once.
Everybody wants it firm and fast. Everything that we do comes down to that, firm and fast. Now, at the same point, we have to have a healthy turf plant. At the Olympic Club, as you guys know, we're putting anywhere from 150 to 200 people out every day in and day out.
Per course.
So quite a few golf carts. Golf carts are the nemesis to golf course superintendent.
Especially in the rough, right?
Fairways, actually probably the fairways more.
Yeah.
When they get super dry and golf carts drive through them, you'll see tracks going through it. You'll see turf that will die. Takes weeks for us to get that turf to come back. So from 7:30 in the morning until, we leave the golf course, our whole goal in the morning, it's a choreography every day. It's really rinse and repeat every day with some alterations. We don't mow the fairways every day, but we mow the greens, we roll, we rake bunkers, we move tee markers, we move pins. All that's a choreography that happens every morning in front of the first group. That's our goal, is to stay in front of the first group.
Yeah, and you're the conductor, right?
Yeah, honestly, I am not the conductor. My team is. Okay. I have 7 amazing managers, plus Philip, our equipment manager. But they're the ones that set the schedule, who's going to do what job. They're out there right with them in the morning, make sure everybody's in the right spot and they're keeping pace. So I'm mainly the planner. We have meetings, we talk about what we're going to do to try to continue keeping the plant healthy, and how do we keep getting this golf course better every day. That's the goal. Now, can we make it better every day? Not necessarily, but you want to make sure it doesn't get worse. There are things we do that maybe you get out there and go, the course wasn't quite as good as last Friday on a Tuesday. Well, that was probably because Maintenance Monday, we did a lot of water, a lot of work to get it ready for the next couple weeks.
You mentioned something like the golf cart, which I'm sure most people don't really necessarily think about the impact to the course. What are the things that you see on the golf course that maybe we wouldn't see?
What do we see and notice? Golfers tend to play with people that are more like them, same kind of quality of golfer. That happens more often than not. I see good to really good golfers think that everybody plays like them. And, I'll give you a good example. It's like, hey, there's a really hard pin on one side, and you have all this green on the left. You should hit it over there instead of over to the right. And I just start laughing. I'm like, if I could stand 150 yards out and hit it on the left side of the green at a 12 to 14 handicap that I can't do that.
Right.
I do it once in a while, but I can't do that. People are all over the place. So it's understanding that everybody, from the highest handicap to the best players here, are playing the same golf course every day.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
What fields, what high school soccer teams get to play at Levi Stadium on the World Cup pitch?
Right.
Doesn't happen.
I was thinking you were going to go with some agronomy observation, but it's really curious that you came with like a, golf behavior kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say this. Our club hired Gil Hanse 3-4 years ago. And to me, we took a golf course that's always going to be a championship golf course that's going to host major championships, Ryder Cups. It's in our DNA, but we made it more fun.
Yeah.
We didn't make it easy.
Hard to argue with that.
Made it more fun.
I think it's more fun.
Yeah.
I think it's more playable.
We took approaches, made them wider. We made greens bigger. And that's what Gil talked about. We listened to him talk. You hear it, and it just made so much sense.
Right.
At the time, I would say our club was super proud of our one fairway bunker and super small greens. And he showed pictures of what our greens used to look like back in the 20s, 30s, 40s. And you could see, because there were people on the picture, it's like, wow, these were huge. Talked about that and talked about how golf needs to be fun, but yet we can still do what we need to do to challenge the best golfers in the world.
So segueing a little bit, you've brought up the fact that hosting championships is in our DNA, outside championships. How do you balance conditions for everyday member play with having to host these outside championships?
So I'm going to ask you guys a question.
Okay.
Let's say it's middle of April. Take this year. Middle of April, which is a pretty nice time of year for us.
Sure.
Month away from PGA Championship. Let's say the PGA Championship called us and said, something happened at Aronimink. We can't host the championship there. Don't worry about the infrastructure. Can you guys host this championship in a month? What % do you think we're at championship, hosting a championship?
I'm going to err on the side of 50%. I'm going to say 50%. I don't know.
I'm going to go closer to 75%.
I would say we're at 93% almost every day.
Wow.
Think about that. What condition would we be in if we were that? What do I need to do? And I'm talking about us. I'm going to talk about Oakmont, Shinnecock, the clubs that have this in their DNA, that they want great golf courses. San Francisco Club, Cal Club, Lake Merced. We're all perfectionists. We know we can't get there, but we want to see perfection all the time.
It was kind of like when you said when you first got here, you had to change some of the cultural habits, right?
Yes.
On day one, if you were to say, we got to start doing blah, 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 how long would that take to get from where you were to where you want it to be?
So going back to 2014, probably where I felt really good with the golf course, it probably was right before, a year before the Women's Open, 6 years.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Nothing happens fast in turf than death. And that's how quick things can go.
Yeah.
So when we are really animate about aerating and top dressing and all how important these cultural practices, it's not lip service. We have to do that to maintain what we are and maybe make it better.
And that enables you to
make it worse.
That enables you to be at that 93%.
So we're at that. So think about it. What do we have to do? Greens are rolling 12 the last couple of mornings. When the PGA comes out here advance week, that's the most they want to see these greens. Advance week is, for anybody that doesn't know, is the week before the championship. We're there. It's about water management, but I have a month to deal with that. That's no problem. The fairways are in great shape right now. What we will do to get them to that final 100% ready, that doesn't take that much. The rough we have to grow. Guess what? Bring the fertilizer truck in. Giddy up. Start fertilizing. Let's get this grass to go. Well, we usually start that about 4 to 6 weeks ahead of time anyways. Narrowing fairways and stuff like that they want to do for championships. If they gave us a month, they'd be like, well, we can try, but that's a little aggressive. But still letting the rough grow, we don't need months for that. We need more than a month, but not 2 months.
Well, going back to that balancing act, you're serving different priorities, competing priorities. How do you balance all that?
We have a goal of trying to make sure that the golf course is playing as well as it can each and every day. You all give me 4 hours of your time, 160 some to 200 players doing that a day. That's a big weight on shoulders. But when you break it back down, when you do this long enough, you do the right cultural practices, do them at the right time, and the rest is going to take care of itself. That's the big thing. So we can get the greens faster than 12. With technology nowadays, we can do that, but we know that you're going to be out there that much longer and people aren't going to have fun.
Where did you get that philosophy? Was there a mentor? Was one of these guys that, your guy at Cypress or Pebble that drilled that into you?
I don't know if they ever said the words, but you knew when you worked for those people that are at the best in the country. And I was very fortunate to work for some great ones. You learn it. You just learn. You can see the stress.
Right.
It can be a very stressful job. Each place is different. I was in the desert before this. Growing grass was the most stressful part of our job. Here, grass grows easily. Our temperate climate, it's kind of right in the wheelhouse for grass to grow. But it's the other things. It's how big of a club we are, how much play we get, all the tournaments we have, and trying to get in on certain days and do the practices we need. So we try to top dress the greens every other week. And what was happening is, we have a Monday tournament, or we have 3 of them in a row, and we'll just skip it. And then after a while, I would hear comments, the greens are kind of slow, kind of bumpy. I got to the point, it was like, you know what? I don't care. Every other week, we're top dressing the greens. I don't care if it's the week of the Invitational. We're top dressing greens, and we talked about it in green committee. Don't get me wrong, it's not just me, but it was like, here's the deal, everybody. We either do this or that. So if it's a XYZ event on a Thursday, I don't care. I'm still top dressing on Monday. Is everybody okay with that? When you get that mindset, that gets you to that 93%. If you don't, if you let golf dictate what you're doing, now you're dropping maybe down to 75, 80%.
I feel terrible for guessing 50% for the record.
Don't. I put it out.
Sorry.
I put it out to 2 other people in the past.
Yeah.
Because it's not like I just thought of this.
Yeah.
And 75% was kind of the number.
Yeah.
But then after you talk about it and you start thinking, it's like, oh.
I want to talk a little bit about your thoughts on golf course evolution. So you oversee historic property. You've also been heading up all of this major work that's been happening while looking at all these huge events. So how do you think about that balance between where you're looking forward and seeing where golf courses are going versus the tradition?
I'd never worked with a great architect, somebody that was the highest level until I worked with Gil. I worked at Troon Golf and Country Club as an assistant, and Weisskopf did that. We did a small project with him, but really, like a big renovation. And after listening to him talk, and if you've never listened to him talk, you have to, because it's amazing. It's like the whole world makes sense of golf. It is. I've never heard anybody articulate like he does. And so during the interview process, and we had some really good people that we interviewed, it was just fun to sit in there. And when Gil talked, it was quiet. And it wasn't because it was Gil Hanse. It was just because what he was saying was just like, wow, this makes sense. And a lot about his philosophy. Yeah, look at the courses he's gone in and helped get back to what they used to be. LACC, Southern Hills, Wingfoot. He's done Baltusrol, Oakmont. All these great clubs. Well, it's because what he does, as he says, is put it back the way the dead guys did it. Most of these courses are the early 1900s-ish, first quarter, first half of 1900s, late 1800s. Other architects over the history have come in and said, my way is better than the last person. I'm going to put bunkers here. I'm going to take these bunkers out. I'm going to change this green. I'm going to do all this. And that happens to pretty much every golf course. There's a few that haven't. You know, I'd say Cypress Point really hasn't done that, Pine Valley. But, you know, look at what Augusta is now, what it used to be. Even Pebble Beach is somewhat different.
What, to your understanding, what was his reason why the old way was better?
Because the Golden Age architects are amazing. We all talk about them still. McKinsey, Tillinghast, all those people.
No one's come
are
along.
still revered. You know, who do we talk about from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s? You know, Robert Trent Jones Sr. did a lot of great things. A lot, you know, the Open Doctor did a lot of things, and he touched our golf course. But nobody puts anybody else in that category. Nowadays, when you look at it, you know, Gil has a great reputation. Core Crenshaw, those two, you know, amazing. Andrew Green's doing a lot of great things. But there's a lot of other great architects out right now, and what they're doing is a lot like what Gil's doing, you know? And so Gil comes in, he'd never done a William Watson golf course, which is ours. What did he do? He worked with Jessica Smith, our historian, Tommy Naccarato, a lot of pictures, got as many pictures from the 20s, 30s, 40s, early 50s, before the renovation to get ready for the Open in 55. All these pictures, and studied them, and try to put it back the way the dead guys did it. Now, it was called a historical renovation, not a restoration. We didn't put every bunker back. He didn't put every bunker back. Our bunkers were, you know, McKinsey has cool bunkers. These bunkers were very more basic shape, flatter, not really to today's golf game.
And he moved locations of them to
Yes.
catch up to technology, basically, right?
Certain bunkers he did, you know, those things to get to today's game. Absolutely. But that's because of our championship DNA. You know, you wouldn't want those bunkers to be back where they used to be. Those guys and gals playing, they hit it way past.
Right. Right.
So that was awesome. You know, sit there and just, for me to soak that up and then sit back and think of all the other things that I've done in my last 20, 25, 26 years. It was like just this light bulb that went off.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like, this is the way to do it.
Yeah. Now, he puts the hard hat on, too. Where does his role end and yours begin?
Well, he comes in for 3 to 4 days, gets on his dozer, which is what he calls his office, and he does the rough shaping to get the bunkers close. And then he has one of his team come in after to do all the final shaping, if you will. And then he worked on the green expansions and did all that by hand. Him and his right-hand person, Kevin Murphy, they did all that stuff. But other than that, we're just doing everything else.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's
Just everything else.
Yeah, I mean, I'm being facetious. Obviously, you have a contractor that's doing all the work, but we're to make sure that it's all done right. And part of my job was to, if I saw things happening that I didn't think were the vision he talked about when he got here on that first day, every day he'd come in here right at 7 o'clock, put his work shoes on and go, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Some days are like, nothing, I'll see you out there. Or other days be like, can we go look at this bunker or this green? I'm not sure if this is what you want. As a lot of us are, I had a lot of kind of opinions.
Sure.
I will never say that I could design a golf hole. I don't have that eye, but I know what I like and I don't like.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us feel that way.
Yeah. But at the same time, when he came, I was like, you know what? I'm going to shut up and I'm going to listen.
And now we're renovating our other golf course, the Ocean Course.
Yes, we are.
As if your plate wasn't full enough already.
Yeah. What did you, I don't know, what lessons did you take from working with Gil to applying that to now working with Jim Urbina on Ocean?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Just really shut up and listen. It doesn't mean I'm not opinionated, that I don't bring things up. You know, the toughest thing about the Ocean course is the lake was very straightforward. We knew what we needed to do. We're expanding the greens. We are putting the bunkers to a certain design, certain spots. It was very straightforward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Ocean course is very different.
Well, there's been some rerouting.
Yeah, I mean, what is on paper? You know, we did some, you know, rerouting number 7 on the lake, but yes, there was more rerouting, but not crazy, right? But at the same point, this is more of free flowing. Jim's out there going, you know what I had on paper, what I saw in the field 2 years ago when we did these plans, I'm not feeling now. Now that everything has been shaped, I don't like that bunker here. So I'm going to take it out, or I'm going to move it here. So it's kind of keeping up with him and making sure that I feel what he is doing is what the Golf Architecture Committee of 5 plus some liaisons and what the membership are expecting. But at the same point, and this was super important when we hired Gil, is we are here to hire the best and let them do their job and not tell them how to design the golf course. And I would say that in the past, with the other architect that we had here, a lot of times we drove the bus. I don't want to get down a rabbit hole, but at the same point, we had that philosophy with Gil, and we step back and go, you know what, it's turned out pretty dang good.
Yeah.
We're going to do the same with the ocean course. So there are things on the ocean, I'm like, oh boy, that's different. But then again, you look at the ocean golf course, what it was. You know, Weiskopf, when he redid it in 98, Bill Love tweaked it. Members really like it, but it's not a super memorable golf course.
Yeah.
It's fun to play. It's really nice, but you don't walk away going, oh, wow.
I think that's about right.
When you talk to a few on the Golf Architectural Committee that have been long-term members, and there's some really good knowledge there, they really loved the feel of the pre-98 golf course, the old golf course.
Yeah.
It was more dunesy. It was more fun and ball
Differentiated,
rolling,
too.
differentiated. Yeah, very. I think there's a lot of excitement to go back again. You know, and Jim does the same thing. He looks at these old photos, and he's not trying to recreate bunkers, but he's trying to recreate a feel. And I think that's what you're going to see with that golf course.
Yeah, I think we're both looking forward to that.
100%.
So you've got, I'm sure you're feeling super busy about it, but I'm thinking this is really cool. You've got on one hand a course where you're fine tuning and, 93%. You've got the other one that's kind of being sculpted right now. What are the elements that you love most about those two different experiences?
Whew. I'll be honest with you. It's not really fun right now. Construction's not fun. It's 11-hour days, Monday through Friday. It's Saturdays anywhere from 5 to 7 hours. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of stress. It's not just the stress of what's going on and trying to get everything to keep going, but it's the stress of growing it in. It's the stress of knowing that we're doing this for 12,000 members. You all entrusted us with this project. We did the lake course and it turned out great. And you're kind of like, whew, thank God. Now we're back in it again. And now that this one is going to be different for people, that's a whole nother stress. But at the same point, I can't worry about what the outcome is. Again, we hired Jim Urbina. You know what I mean? But the execution, when you walk out that first day to play it and come back to me and go, wow, that was way better than I thought it was going to be. Better shape. That's what the lake course was. And that was our goal. Me and my teams, that was our goal. That's the same goal for this. And now we're doing the driving range here soon. We're doing the Cliffs course. And, it just goes on. And then what's going on in the back of my head, it's that 93%. It's that, oh, by the way, in less than 2 years, we have the best golfers in the world out here. Think about how many people are watching your golf course. You know what I mean? That's a lot of...
PGA Championship, 500 million.
Thanks.
But don't worry, it'll be more for the Ryder Cup.
Is that it? Yeah. But think about that, If things are really good, people see it. My good friend at Aronimick, John Goslin, that place was phenomenal.
It was. And he's a really nice guy.
He's a super nice guy. Yeah. And I've known John for a long time. I spent a little time with him there. And I've seen it myself during these championships. You try to have fun, but you can't.
Yeah.
You can't really enjoy what you're doing. But same point, the place is phenomenal. And it's because of all that work that it takes to get there.
Yeah.
I don't...
And he had the benefit of 6 months of no member play leading up to it.
But he also had the winter, and they had a tough winter.
Yeah.
Everybody has their things, but it's a lot on your mind.
Yeah.
And when it's good, everybody sees how good it is, but then you're watching golf. You're watching people play. But if it's not good, that's what everybody sees.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people understand how many hours in those 7 days of the championship. I don't know if I've ever told you, but do you guys have any idea how many hours we are here in the 7 days?
Please tell us.
All of them? Close to it?
It's close.
Yeah.
It's around 135 hours in that 1 week.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
So you're leaving.
And you're not sitting at a desk.
No.
Yeah.
Well, during the day, you might be sitting in an easy chair somewhere falling asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I mean, you get there around 3:30, 3:45 in the morning, and you're here until 10, 11 o'clock at night. You go home, you just crash, and then you get up and do it again.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's the easiest week of the whole championship because all the hard work was
It's done.
before that.
Done,
Yeah.
yeah.
All the stress is, what if we have a hydraulic leak on a fairway mower? What if a hose breaks and then chemical bursts out? All the weeks leading up to it. It's all of those things. So when you finally get to championship week, it's like, okay.
We know a little bit of what that's like because when 30 horses escaped the corral at Los Caballeros and trampled 3 of the greens prior to our 90-person golf trip, it was
Stakes were just as high, Troy.
just as high.
For this 90-person golf
I
trip.
could imagine.
Probably
I could
fewer people
imagine.
watching on TV, but there.
Yeah.
So I know that pressure too.
So, and that's why you work so hard to get to that 93%, so
Sure.
that it's rinse and repeat. You're doing the same things.
All right, so we are sitting in your office. Most of us, I get down here from time to time. We come and chat with you, or maybe we have a greens committee meeting or something that I've been able to attend this year. And so there's a lot of, people that don't see what goes on down here, what goes on behind the scenes, what the teamwork looks like on your end. So give us a sense of what it's like to manage the team here.
Yeah. You know what? I'm glad we're talking about it. I said earlier, seven, they're all guys, 7 guys that have turf grass degrees or some are working towards it. Managers. My equipment manager, Philip Gill, also has a turf grass degree. So he used to be one of the assistants, and then he moved over to taking care of all of the equipment, which is a huge job. But I have a phenomenal group of people, and I hire for personality. I don't hire for resume, because I can teach people what I want them to learn. I can't teach them how to be a great teammate, and I can't teach them how to be a good person. So that always hasn't been the point in my career, but after failing a few times with different people, I finally figured that out. So I have people that want to work together, that like to be together, and it's a fun atmosphere. Now, I'm 30 years older. I don't feel like it mentally, but physically I do. But it's fun having those guys with me. So we meet in here once a week and talk about what we're doing next week. So that's the importance of what cultural practices, spraying, fertilizer, aeration, what are we doing, projects going on, what are the next stages, what's happening next week. Like our meeting the other day was, we're hydroseeding 8 acres of these slopes out here on the ocean. Cliffs course is starting. What greens are we going to sod? What rough are we going to sod? It's so much, And then the week after, oh, by the way, we're going to close the driving range down. That's one of the most stressful things we're doing this whole project, because you all know that the ocean course is closed, but now all of a sudden the driving range is closed. You're kind of like, well, what am I going to do? How do I get ready for my round of golf?
Yeah.
That's a big burden on us. Matt, Jordan, and I talk about it all the time.
I have a theory that a non-trivial amount of players will be shocked about how little difference it'll make to their scores.
You're probably right.
And now we'll find out.
You're probably right. I have a saying that I push with my team a lot, and it's, how do you eat a whale? It's one bite at a time.
I say that all the time.
Yeah, it's one bite at a time. If you look at everything that's going on, you're going to get overwhelmed, and you're not going to be productive. But
100%.
one bite at a time, just keep taking that bite. And I think that helps them.
Yeah.
My favorite thing that I do now, other than the obvious, what product we put out for you.
Oh, I thought it was going to be hanging out with us.
That's number 3.
Okay. Top 5.
Yeah.
It's I'm at that point. Yeah, I like to joke. And Jared Keefe, my main guy, he laughs every time I say it. But I was like, I just care about these next 8 years. 'Cause that's what I'm hoping to retire, But I'm joking, but I've gotten to the point in my career where I can figure out everything that happens on this golf course, in all these golf courses. It's taken a long time. I've been doing this. I'm superintendent 28 years now. I finally have felt in the last 4 or 5 years, probably since the Women's Open, that I can deal with no matter what comes my way, and I can turn it around the quickest I ever could. Now it's teaching those 7 guys, trying to expedite that in them so that they don't have to take as long as it did for me. And I love working with them and getting them to the point of going on to that next job someday at a really high level. I had people that instilled that in me. I want to do that for them. So that's my excitement. One of my biggest excitements every day is to see them learning, because people that have left here that have worked for me, Tom Irvin at Claremont, Andrew Crawford at Tualatin Country Club are great examples. Kyle Moore that just left, Lake Superintendent. When you leave, they are more prepared than most everybody else because of how intense we are here. 3 USGA championships in my 12 years here. And by the way, in 2 more years, less than, we have the PGA, the Women's Am, Ryder Cup. I mean, you don't get that anywhere. It's so funny. We will have a U.S. Open qualifier out here. We just see that as another Monday. I know a golf course that had a U.S. Open qualifier, and they prepped for it like it was
Super
the
Bowl.
U.S. Open. Okay? And it's funny because I sit back and kind of laugh, because I'm like, the organization that runs it, which for us is Northern California Golf Association, they run it for the USGA. They don't want that. You got to play 36 holes and you have a whole field. They just want everybody to get done.
Yeah.
Right.
Before it gets dark.
Right.
So anyways, you kind of know the drill on each event, but it's for these guys to see that it doesn't take us long to get ready for the U.S. Open qualifier. It's not like we have slow greens or anything, but you know what I mean?
Sure.
This course wanted to grow the rough up to be like really difficult.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah. It's not the Open.
yeah.
I've gotten to know the operation a little bit better than I used to, and I've seen some of the neat tools and tech that you guys have. I think a lot of people don't really appreciate that or know about it. What are some of the things that you use on a regular basis to help, what it is that you need to do to treat a course?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. This is probably where and it's going to sound a little funny, but most proud of myself, because that old dog and new tricks thing, I could easily be like, those newfangled tools, I don't need that. Just give me a soil probe and a putter and I'll know what you guys want. I have really embraced the technology that's come out. Technology is just, like we all know, I mean, it's just skyrocketed, in the last 20 years. And for us, we've had moisture meters where you put it down the ground, it goes 1 to 3 inches depending on your probe length, and it will tell us how much moisture is in the ground. Now it's gotten to the point where they've gotten better. They have GPS in them. They will give us heat maps of the green every point. So we'll put like 45 to 50 different spots on the green in a grid pattern back and forth pretty much every day. And it will give me a heat map. So as the team is doing that out in the field, I'm getting a notification every green that gets done. I will scroll through the heat map and I could tell where we're at. Like right now, the greens are getting pretty dry out there. The speeds, I know where they're at because we have a thing the USGA came up with. It's a golf ball called the GS3 ball. It's a smart ball. You use a stimp meter just like you usually would. It will give you speed. It will give smoothness, smoothness, ball bouncing, ball weaving, and it will give us firmness.
The ball.
Yes, this
Wow.
ball gives us all that.
That's
so
cool.
I can sit at home on a Sunday, wake up at 7:38 and check to see what has happened since 5 a.m. and I can see all this. And it's all all to do with what are we going to do next? When do we need water? Are we going to be okay to get through the next couple of days? All those kind of things. So we do all that, and it all is to help with consistency. We know there are certain greens, no matter you build every green exactly the same way, there are certain greens that react different. And how do we change what we do to try to make the greens all feel and play the same?
Yeah. Is more data better? Are you like a give me all the data guy, or are you balancing data with your experience and knowledge and what you're seeing with your eyes?
It's a great question. That's where I think the data helps you get kind of an idea of what's going on. I don't like too much data. That's why I like the heat maps. I don't like to look at all the individual numbers, what the moisture is. I like to see what the
I can get this in
trends
1
are.
second. Yeah.
The more we do, the tighter that heat map gets. On the fairways, we also have a thing called turf rat. It's about the size of a sheet of paper. It sits on the back of the fairway mower. As a fairway mower is mowing, it's reading, I think it's about 4 inches or so into the soil. Don't know how it does it, way over my head. We will get a heat map of the fairways, and we also look at that. Our heat map then has sprinkler heads on it. And then we can look and go, ooh, that's blue. Blue is wet. Okay, let's go out and check. But instead of just saying, hey, that sprinkler, we're going to adjust that in the computer to water less, we go out there with a soil probe, go down and see, is the data that we're getting, is it right? And that's the agronomy part that I'm worried that the younger generation is going to get too into data and not get their hands dirty. Because in the end, that's greenskeeping, is getting your hands dirty and feeling it. What is it like?
I was about to ask, it sounds like a lot more science than art these days.
It can be, but I don't think that's the right thing. The science helps pinpoint the art. Sitting there watching you guys hit into the green. I love stopping behind a green and just hoping the person hits the green. We talk about being devious. Yeah, I love watching the ball hit, bounce, and roll. I love that because that's that firm factor. I remember my first championship, the USJ 4-ball in 15. That was what our agronomist talked about. He goes, unless it's somebody with a 9-iron, a pitching wedge in their hand, you want to see the ball bounce, roll. Doesn't mean bounce and skyrocket off the green. It just means, unlike what we see on the weekly tournaments on the PGA Tour, where they really are trying to showcase their players, it's their tour. You see the bounce, spin off the green.
Yeah.
Okay. On really firm greens, you don't see that in the U.S. Opens too often.
No.
I'm happy with bounce, roll, Troy, as long as you put the pins in the
backs.
spots. Yeah.
In the backs of every green.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So now, the best players, when they do have a wedge in their hand, they will bounce, stop, and maybe pull back a little bit, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So on a daily basis for you all, I love to see what's the trajectory of the ball.
Yeah.
If it's somebody with a 5-wood that hits it 20 feet off the ground, I don't want to see that ball check. But if you have a wedge on your hand, in 16 from 100 yards away, I expect it to bounce, and it might stop, might pull back a little bit. That's great.
Yeah. So you've sort of said here that you think of 33 as maybe the point in time where you'll hang it up, and you've had already 3 USGA championships, met thousands of members here. What has been the most challenging and the most rewarding moments of your time here?
Rewarding, other than what we talked about with my team over here and seeing the different people leave and go on to better things. I have a phenomenal crew of 40. They're all guys, union guys, that's just a great team in here. Coming to work, it's awesome. The membership here, and I'm not saying it because they're most likely watching right now, I love the membership. I've worked for a membership at a different place that it wasn't fun. It's fun to be around this membership. Round Hill Country Club membership was phenomenal. Those things, they mean a lot. People that are appreciative of what we do, that means a lot to us. The Women's Open, when we had the 30 women in turf from different parts of the country, that was probably one of the most important things I ever did. And since then, so that was 2021. Since then, not just that group of women, but our industry has exploded. They're on the covers of our turf
incredible.
magazines. They're in the advertisements. They've taken it to a whole different level, and we need it. Our industry, at the time at least, it was like 2% of our whole industry was female. I don't know what it is, and it's going to be one of those things where it will climb a little bit, and then someday it'll skyrocket. And it's all because of them, but it was just a cool way to get people together that didn't know each other. You know, some of them talked to, there's like 2 superintendents. They were in the same essentially area, and they didn't even know each other was there.
Oh, wow.
Because they were so like, I'm not going to go to association meetings. I'm not going to do any of this because every time I walk in the door, everybody does one of those.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want that. I'm just going to stay on my golf course and do my thing.
Sure.
And that's changing. So that was a big part of something that really is something special.
Those all sound rewarding and wonderful. What's been some of the most challenging stuff? I got to imagine managing the AM with your back pain.
Yeah.
It had to be close to the top of the list.
That was tough. That was really tough. Getting through that and just trying to stay as positive as I could and enjoy the moment. And surgery was about 6 weeks after that, maybe 7 weeks after that. It got exponentially worse after that. Even. So anyways, but that's so much better now.
Good.
Those first few years were tough when I knew the golf course wasn't where I wanted it, and I knew it wasn't going to change quick, as we talked about. That was tough, you know, but it's all been worth it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Troy, we end every episode with the same question. What does the soul of golf mean to you?
Boy, it's really deep. It's really deep. You know, I mean, I've done this for so long, you know, and to me, it's all about every single golfer that comes out every day. You're giving me four hours of your time. My assumption is that you're at your happiest place right now. You're not working, away from maybe life's difficulties. So that soul for me, I guess, is to give you all that release. You've paid for it, you've earned it. Come out here and forget about life for a while. That's what my life is all about when I'm here. As far as for me, it's the same thing. When I go golfing, I don't want to think about turf. You know,
Right.
I could.
Or score, apparently.
Or score, absolutely. So that's maybe the best way I can answer that.
Love it.
Fantastic.
Well, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it, man. It was really,
Absolutely.
really good spending a little
Been a
time
pleasure,
with you
Troy.
here today.
Yes. that
Thank
was
you.
fun.
Coming up next week, every golf club has stories that never make it past the locker room.
We are joined by the anonymous voice behind Country Club Confidential. We'll call him Scott, where those stories finally get told.
We talk about the unforgettable characters and types of stories that keep coming up: cheating, theft, and revenge.
The stories may be different, but the people are surprisingly familiar. That's next time on Weekday Golf. Weekday Golf is produced by Armageddon Partners, LLC. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter/X. Let us know what you want to hear about at weekdaygolfpodcast@gmail.com.